Okay, today we're going to be doing a monochromatic painting of a gun, and this is for students who slightly struggle. On the screen here is a painting in the National Portrait Gallery which shows the range of monochrome on a face, varying from white to mid-grey to dark grey to black, following the contour lines of the actual object. And this was done with a variety of artists like Rembrandt, Lucian Freud, Caravaggio, using monochrome to create excellent structural paintings. And we remove that, and then basically look at the gun there, as you can see. Basically what I'm going to do now is go and create a range in acrylic. Acrylic paint's obviously been a bit different to oil. They contain PVA. They dry really quickly. So we're going to go from white here, not use as many blocks as some of the other students will be doing. Go to black here, and then create a range through the centre. So we've got to look for on mid-grey. Mix a grey here in the centre. Put it in somewhere like that, there, and then we can go and create a tonal range. So we'll add some more right there, you can see. Going further back, as I say, depending on your ability you could do more boxes. This is just showing different types of tone using black and white acrylic. On the other side we're going to actually use more black. It's trial and error. If you make them too dark, you can always go over them. You can label them, number them. At this stage I don't think it's really that necessary, because you should be familiar with these tones from the last sketch we did, where we used pencil lines. Okay, so there is a range there. Now what we're going to do once we've done that is we're going to beam in to the gun and look at a part of the gun. And you can see the arrows on there showing the direction of the cubic forms we created previously. And what I'm going to do is now trying to investigate some of the tones on there. So we can start by looking at some mid-tones which are coming round here, like so. Follow the block form and get slightly dark as you turn. So you add a slightly darker tone around here, following the contour lines, the blocks that we created, coming down around about here. And then what we could do is denote where the dark areas are as well. So you've got the range, dark and light established. So the darkest part will probably be just in the side there where that part hits the gun, and in some of the areas here which are attaching themselves. You can see them following the block form, and there. So the darkest range is established. And obviously around the area here is slightly following the block form there, as you can see. Got some slightly darker areas here. So we're beginning to follow the block contour lines with different sets of monochromatic mixtures. You can see on the top here, this part here would be much lighter. The light hits the silver part of the gun. which you can see here, and we can follow those lines there, you see. Now if there's a slight error in the tonal arrangement, it's not a big issue, you can go over the paints again. I mean, we are working on the basis that you can work wet on wet, which we didn't do with the watercolour exercise, but this acrylic paint and oil paint lends itself to building up, so following the form there across. And at the top of the gun we've got a slightly medium dark tone there, which I'm going to apply here on that block. You can see that all these various tones begin to come together now, and on the barrel of the gun, that's obviously curvaceous. You can see the curves there. We can start shading, or putting in the lines. And following the three-dimensional form that way. Indentations here, indentations here. So all the artists of the period, Freud himself would work on the basis of using block form like we've been doing here on his work. So it looks as though it's three-dimensional. In fact, with Freud's work, the paint is put on so thickly that you almost can feel the cubes coming out of the page, or the form that he creates. And he layers one on top of the other in terms of looking at the three-dimensional form. And around here, see, a slight subtle change. Now we're going to do a little bit of painting wet on wet. If I've got this, go back to the area we were looking at here, the silver part of the gun. It's still quite wet, and can work onto that a little bit more. Adding a darker tone. So I'm adding a dark tone actually onto the page itself here, you can see. It's a wet on wet technique. And so forth with the side of the gun here, which is really, really dark. Even there, put some darker tone in there, following the contour lines around. You can see that there's a great range being created here. That's the end of the demo.